Liverpool and Barcelona in hunt for Gakpo having dazzled for PSV. PSV Eindhoven's reputation as a factory regularly producing excellent left-wingers has grown exponentially in recent years, and Cody Gakpo is just the latest example of their success. The 22-year-old has scored 16 goals across all competitions, to go with 15 assists in his 37 appearances so far this season, keeping the club in the hunt for their first Eredivisie title since the 2017-18 season. Such form has unsurprisingly drawn the interest of European giants, with Arsenal, Liverpool, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich all reportedly accelerating their interest in the £42 million rated star after it was claimed PSV would be open to selling in the summer if they receive a suitable offer. Two of those clubs have benefited from what PSV did with two of Gakpo's predecessors in that position, with Arjen Robben enjoying a decade of success at Bayern Munich, while Memphis Depay is currently part of Xavi's plans at Barcelona. Belgium international Dries Mertens also impressed at the Philips Stadion before Napoli snapped him up on 2013, but it was the departure of Steven Bergwijn to Tottenham in 2020 which has accelerated Gakpo's progress. Yet few would criticize PSV fans if their attachment to Gakpo was a little more than the other three, given that he was born and raised in the city of Eindhoven. Philip Cocu, the manager who would hand him his first team debut, was the last homegrown hero to play regularly for the club. He may not have as many tricks in the locker as Depay or Bergwijn, but his powerful indirectness along with an ever-developing goal threat has seen him send PSV fans purring. Predominantly a left-winger who has a proclivity to cut inside and shoot with his powerful right foot, Gakpo is equally adept on the opposite flank or at the heart of the attack. The 22-year-old joined the PSV youth setup aged 6 in 2005 before a slow and steady rise through Jong PSV eventually, including 7 goals in 13 games for the U19s in 2017-18. But it was former PSV star and boss Mark van Bommel who eventually took the punt on him and Daniel Malen, promoting the then 19-year-old duo to the first-team squad ahead of the 2018-19 season. By that time, he had already made his senior debut, coming on for the final minute of PSV's 3-1 win away at Feyenoord in February 2018. But it was what was to come next which would eventually vindicate Van Bommel's gamble. His full first-team debut came in a 4-0 away win against Excelsior Maasluis in the KNVB Cup in September 2018, a game in which he netted his first for the senior squad too with the first goal after 15 minutes. But that performance had not sealed any sort of regular place in Van Bommel's matchday squad, and he was forced to switch between them and the second tier with Jong PSV. Yet is likely his continued excellence for the reserves that saw him become a regular member of the first team by the end of the year. In the 5-1 home win go-ahead Eagles in December 2018, Gakpo scored the first hat-trick of his professional career, which played a huge part in him netting 10 goals in 11 league games for Jong PSV by the end of the season. After scoring and assisting in the 5-2 home win against Almere City later that month, Van Bommel had been convinced to put him in the Eredivisie, allowing him to come on for Steven Bergwijn for the final few minutes against Arizona Alkmaar just 24 hours later. He then repeated the feat of scoring and assisting in the same game 2 months later, but this time for the first team in a 5-0 hammering of Fortuna Sittard. Another 4 assists would come for the first team between the end of February and May, but the marker had been set. Yet the next year or so perhaps did not go as expected, and he initially had to be patient, though 8 goals in 39 matches across all competitions were no return to be scoffed at. He followed that up with 11 goals in 29 appearances in a season interrupted by contracting COVID and an ankle injury, but talk of making an international debut was swirling. He had starred at the European Under-21 Championship, where Holland reached the semi-final, playing a crucial hand in a number of goals in the 6-1 victory over hosts Hungary in their final group game. However, though born in Eindhoven and having represented Holland's U21s, playing for Togo was another option open to him due to his father being born there. But his talent was not going unnoticed in Holland either. "That boy has everything," former Holland international Theo Jansen said. "Fine feeling for the ball, a good through ball, dribbles and is strong between the lines. I really enjoy watching him. He is going to be an important player for the Orange squad. He is ready to be in the base of the Orange squad." Former Ajax and PSV manager Ad de Moos was also certain pre-Euros that Gakpo is a future Netherlands star, telling Ed, "He is also becoming an international for me. He should be selected for the European Championship, I am convinced of that." Kenneth Perez, now an analyst on Fox Sports, believes Gakpo is also now a better player than his predecessor on the PSV wing, Steven Bergwijn. "I have been a big fan of Gakpo for some time. He was always a bit in the shadow of Bergwijn at PSV. But actually, I have always found Gakpo better. He is much more goal-oriented and scores a lot more goals. He has physical, speed, and overview. And is technically skilled. I think he is a super interesting player. Frank de Boer had evidently been listening and keeping a close eye on him and had seen enough, and there never truly appeared any chance of Gakpo switching allegiances. Gakpo consequently became the first Holland international to debut at a European Championships for the national team since Marty and Vrijdsen in 1980, coming on in the group stage victory against North Macedonia. The number of caps in an orange shirt has now risen to 4, and the attention is now not simply coming from pundits, but from clubs too. Liverpool and Man City reportedly held talks with him in January, while the Gunners were also heavily linked. However, the trio were then dealt a blow when he signed a new deal in January until 2026. In a statement on their website though, the Dutch Giants confirmed the 22-year-old would stay at PSV for the remainder of the season after signing new and improved terms, which may have hinted at the news this week from The Athletic that a summer move is not impossible. PSV chief John de Jong admitted the player will eventually leave them. The technical director said, "Gakpo will of course not stay in Eindhoven forever. He will go to a top club in a top league in the future. Or will that happen next summer? That's hard to say." The 22-year-old also revealed he has held talks with his representatives over his next move. "The clubs that want something are also known to me. I've had conversations about that with my agent," he said. "Very interesting clubs have been added, but we have to look at what the first step is. Whether the player would agree or not, it appears Gakpo's significant strides in the second half of this season mean he is closer than ever to finishing that first step. And if history is anything to go by with PSV and left wingers they produce, then he is very much set to grace the European stage for many years to come."